I moved to Australia last year, but right now I'm back in the UK visiting friends and family while still keeping my work and life on track. And what surprised me is the only way I've managed to stay productive this whole time is from these 5 tiny Australian habits that I've taken with me. I've stolen them and I've brought back to the UK. I used to think productivity meant working faster and even harder, but these Australian habits have given me a complete sense of calm and clarity in my life that I didn't even realize I needed. So if you've ever felt stuck in hustle mode, or you feel like your days just blur into each other like mine did a couple of years ago, then hopefully these 5 tiny Australian habits can help you. Hey mate, welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Sam, a British actor and runner documenting my journey of rebuilding my life in Australia. So habit number 1 is the walk. In the UK, unless it's summer or really warm in spring and on a really good day, I only see Brits out walking if they're either commuting to work or they're walking their dog, so they have to basically to keep their dog healthy. Whereas in Australia, it is a key habit, it's a staple of so many people's days. They will go out for a walk, they will socialize on walks, they will get coffee on their walks, they will take meetings, they will listen to audiobooks and podcasts on their walks. In fact, for the majority of my Australian friends, walking is their choice of exercise and way to detox from the stress of the day. But the daily walk goes so much further than just doing a good bit of exercise to keep your body ticking along. When you stop working and you let yourself relax, you go into something called the default mode network, or DMN. This is basically where you put your brain into a state of rest, and in doing so, you start to get creative ideas, you figure out solutions to big problems you have in your life or in your job, and you start to solve problems almost effortlessly. This is why people always talk about shower thoughts, how when you take a long, hot shower, you sometimes get these waves of genius. That's literally because your brain is in the default mode network. But the tricky bit is you have to let your brain fully relax in order to enter this state. If you try to force yourself into DMN, it's not going to happen. Your brain will feel that resistance and it will push back. But it's really important to say, in order to rest properly and to enter the default mode network, you need to ensure that you're free from distractions. If you have work, people and emails pinging you, if your friends are asking you when you're gonna hang out, if you've got all of these things, that's added stress and you're just not going to relax. And the thing is, when you're forcing yourself to work harder and work faster, your brain just shuts off. It's like brain fog completely takes over your mind. But as soon as you let yourself rest fully, you gain that perspective back. This has been game-changing for me back in the UK. It's something I forgot I was even doing in Australia, and I was wondering why I was having such productive weeks. But now I'm in the UK, even though I might be the only one going for a walk around my area, I'm so much more relaxed, I'm less stressed, and I get way more work done. And the thing is, movement creates momentum, and I think Aussies figured this out years ago, but don't really talk about it. They're not trying to force productivity. They are just genuinely having a break because they know it's good for them and they know it feels good. And by doing that, you actually become so much more productive. And you'll be shocked if you ever visit Australia, how many people let themselves fully be present outdoors. It's a beautiful thing to see. Now, if you're going to give this habit a go this week, then hit that like button to let me know. Habit number 2 is having coffee as a morning staple. Coffee culture in Australia is next level. Now, with the mix of huge Italian migration that happened many years ago and many other cultures coming over to Australia and bringing their methods of brewing coffee, I feel like everyone sort of met in Australia, said, let's try these things with our coffee, and now the coffee here is absolutely incredible. I promise you, if you come to Australia and you have a coffee at anywhere that looks half decent, it will be the best coffee you've ever had. I bet you. But I do have to emphasize a very large reason this is the case is not only because of the Italian migration, but because Aussies in general, they really care about their coffee. And I think a lot of hard work has gone into that from all people in the country. But the difference between a Brit having a cup of coffee and an Australian having a cup of coffee is I feel like in the UK, a lot of us Brits will just brew a cup of coffee or buy a coffee and we'll just down it and rush to work and, you know, everything's quite stressful. Whereas a lot of Australians will treat either brewing their coffee or buying their coffee as an actual ritual that they create as a staple in the morning. They take the time out to brew or buy a coffee and then they'll sit with it, enjoy it, let the caffeine work its magic, and then they'll get to work. Now, we all know that caffeine is great for improved alertness, focus, memory boosting benefits. It basically can help us feel a bit more productive at work. However, no one is going to be productive if they're necking a couple of coffees and then stressing about all the things they need to get done before the end of the day. Whereas if you sit calmly, quietly, have a cup of coffee, be present with it, enjoy it, and then get to work, you'll notice that you're more able to get more done. Not to mention, you can take your cup of coffee with you while you start working away at some really important work tasks. And it really helps me focus, not only because of the caffeine in it, but I now have a physical thing I have to pay attention to. I'm not getting distracted by doom scrolling or by unnecessary tasks or my phone. You know, I put that in the other room anyway. And every time I take a sip, it just helps me to pause from my work every now and then. And I find that having those pauses, you know, pushed into your work, they make you so much more productive. They help you get so much more done. But I have to be honest, Australian coffee has absolutely ruined me, because while I'm back in the UK, unless I'm going to an Aussie-owned cafe, the coffee here just doesn't taste the same. Habit number 3 is the smoko break. So smoko is code for have a bit of food, have some water, hydrate, have a bit of a chat with your friends, and they're just a real chance for you to step away. Now, of course, smoking isn't good for your health, but taking frequent breaks from your health is brilliant. And in the book Feel Good Productivity by Ali Abdaal, he talks about how people who take more breaks more often are actually scientifically proven to be more productive. So the Aussies have been onto something for absolutely decades. And the point of this is not to smoke a cigarette, because that's not very good for your health, but it's to have a mindful pause from your work, because working harder and faster is not productive. So my UK system now looks like sitting down to work, I will set a timer for how long I think the task will take me, as like a mini challenge, but not actually trying to rush myself. I will complete that task as efficiently as possible without rushing myself, and then I will go take a 5-10 minute break, ideally outdoors, especially if the weather is good and I can get some sunlight. I will have some water, I may have another coffee if I'm not getting jittery. And by doing that, my work thanks me for it, because I have tried on many days in the UK in the past when my wife and I were living in London to just power through breakfast, power through lunch, and I am so depleted and drained at the end of the day and absolutely miserable. But you don't need to burn the candle at both ends. At the end of the day, if you don't treat your rest and recovery seriously, you're not going to be productive at anything. And the thing is, these Aussie defaults of having a smoko break or going for a walk or taking a break, they feel childish at first, but when you actually give them a go, you realise how game-changing they are to your week. And it's a reminder that we're not built to work 12-hour days all day, every week for the rest of our life. Rest is so important. Habit number 4 is put family first. Now, when I started to socialise with my wife's family, lots of time each day was put aside to spend quality time with family, having good chats, asking each other about each other's days, asking if you needed any help, and even doing acts of service for each other. And while I've always been very close with my British family, I noticed that a lot of Aussies in Australia are very family oriented. They put family values and relationships at the utmost priority. And I absolutely love this, because what it does is it puts things into perspective. It immediately drops that pressure and stress of my work is so important, and if I don't do this, everything's going to go wrong. Now, if you're a brain surgeon, if you're a soldier, careers like that, I'm sure you know how to deal with that stress a lot better than I could tell you in this YouTube video. But if you're not working in one of those life and death careers, everything's all right. Of course, I'm not speaking for everyone in Australia. That would be a huge generalization. But Aussies aren't wrong for putting family first. It's grounded in science. Good quality social relationships release serotonin and oxytocin, those happy brain chemicals. And by having more of these happy brain chemicals, we are more productive, work is more playful, more fun, more energizing, and it's easier to do. And I'm speaking from experience, because whenever I put my family or friends first, whether it's in the UK with my UK relatives and friends, whether I'm in Australia with my Aussie relatives and friends, life becomes so much easier. And so while I'm back in the UK, I'm trying to say yes to a lot more friends and family social engagements, and the result, fewer mental spirals, more grounded conversations, better sleep, and just an overall increase in enjoyment when it comes to doing my work. And the thing is, nothing humbles yourself more than when your mum asks why you're talking to a camera alone in your bedroom. Habit number 5 is saying no to more things. Now, after spending a year living in Brisbane, I've realised that not all Aussies, but a lot of Aussies find it very easy to set these boundaries, and they do it in a very gentle and casual way. By just saying, nah, can't today, mate. It doesn't make you feel that rejected, but also they're ensuring that their calendar isn't disrupted. Now, if you've heard of the Derek Sivers technique of hell yeah or no, It's a similar principle. Basically, the more we people please and say yes to things we don't want to do. I'm not talking about the big important things here, like being there at your mate's wedding and picking up your wife after work, things like that. I'm talking about the less important things, like your boss asking you to do overtime, even though you're doing brilliantly in your job, or that random YouTuber telling you to hit that subscribe button right now. Things like that. If it's not a hell yeah, then it equals a no. And the reason why it's really important that we all do that is because it's very easy to say yes to something happening in a month or two time, but then when you get there, you're like absolutely dreading it and you wish you'd never said yes. You realize how few hours there are in a day, and that if you hadn't said yes to this thing, you would have had way more hours to spend with your loved ones, with your friends, doing the work you actually want to do and working on the skills you actually want to build. So a lot of Aussies are very good at saying no and not people pleasing. And so while I'm back in the UK, I've actually made a hell yeah list, which includes my loved ones, my acting career, my YouTube channel, and my running and health. And if anything isn't on that list, then it is a hard no. Some things you still have to do. You can't just go around saying no to everything, but the things that are in your control, definitely say no to politely, calmly, and concisely in a casual manner, just like an Aussie would, and it makes life so much easier. And yes, declining people's offers can sometimes feel awkward, but trading a little bit of an uncomfortable conversation and just saying, no, I can't today, sorry mate, is so much easier than committing to a whole day or week or month or even year of responsibilities that you're going to be absolutely miserable doing. Now, if you like this, you'll love the language quirks I picked up after living in Australia for over a year. So go watch this video now, all about the 10 Aussie words I now use on a daily basis. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.